Epic executive essay. Arren Sawyer, Ascendant of the Ashes, Catalyst of the Cogwheel Crucible. A detailed technical narrative of motive, method, and metaphysics. Abstract. In the scorched wilderness of a fractured earth, where rusted machines whisper to the winds and mutated beasts shamble through the shadows, one name echoes like gunmetal gospel: Arren Sawyer. This is no mere survivor. Sawyer is a living testament to systematic improvisation, adaptive mastery, and the mythopoeic will to reconstruct. He is a character whose narrative and motives form the philosophical and symbolic bedrock of a hyper-mechanical epical tale, one interwoven with desperation, hope, and the engineered transcendence of entropy. This epic executive essay deconstructs Sawyer's design and playstyle as an ontology of quality, a study in emergent excellence through procedural uncertainty. Through vivid archetypal symbolism, technical gameplay mechanics, and theological memetics, we chart the depths of what makes Arren not just an avatar, but an epicenter of post-human potential. The Archaeotech aesthetic. Armor, armament, and ambition. Sawyer's aesthetic silhouette blends the brutalist bones of scavenged metal with the primeval grace of bone-laced armor. This is a symbolic equilibrium, post-industrial decay meeting tribal resilience. Each layer of his equipment speaks in dialects of scavenged salvation. The leather-armored chassis, stitched from fine hides, hard-won and rarely found, emphasizes scarcity as a design imperative. Meanwhile, his armament of choice, the hunting rifle, stands as a totem of precision, vigilance, and tactical pacing. Greater than design motif, his loadout cycles between utilitarian efficacy and symbolic presence. Crafted bullets and crafted leather are not merely resources, they are rites of passage through zones of scarcity and danger. In technical terms, Sawyer is nonlinear. His loadout represents modular archetype cycling, capable of functioning as an aggressor, a scavenger, and a field engineer simultaneously. He is designed for supply chain intelligence, with every part of his kit reflecting deeper logistical intent. 2. Symbolic structures and gameplay theology. Sawyer's quest for the combustion chamber, red hose, and fine leather mirrors ancient mythic retrieval cycles, the hero's journey not toward personal gain, but infrastructural resurrection. Greater than combustion chamber equals Promethean fire, stolen from the depths of danger to reignite human innovation. Red hose equals serpent of flow, a flexible artery binding raw matter to alchemical output, necessary for ethanol and distillation. Fine leather equals sacramental vestment, rare as scripture, symbolic of the transformation of the wild into protection. Each item is no longer an object, but a theological meme, an artifact of loreful necessity. Theological implication. Sawyer's craft stations, his smelter, chemistry lab, distillery, form a ritual topography. These are shrines of function, where ritualized labor bends chaos into order. 3. Cycle of emergence. Philosophy of the Greenwood verses. Oak forest. Sawyer's travel patterns, his forays into the greenwood while yearning for oak forest, represent a dialectic of immediacy versus aspiration. Greenwood is accessible, but insufficient; oak forest is dangerous, but necessary. This structure reflects Maslowian survivalism adapted into gameplay dynamics. Greenwood equals base needs, tactical stability. Oak forest equals transcendent need, evolution of shelter, crafting tier progression. Greater than in every step from one forest to the next, there echoes an echo of Eden lost and reclaimed by trial. IV. Arren Sawyer as executor of ethical pragmatism. What separates Sawyer from other avatars in the genre is his refusal to be nihilistic. His inventory is lean, not through design limitations, but through ideological choice. He does not hoard, he prepares. He does not charge blindly, he scouts binoculars ready. In high-stakes environments, such as facing mutated beasts. In the Rocky Canyons, Sawyer demonstrates adaptive risk calculus, balancing ammunition reserves against threat response velocity. In mechanical terms, low-volume inventory equals intentional burdening forces decision compression. Modular build stations equals chrono-mechanical temples crafting is worship. Leveling path equals mythic quantification of becoming. Level 34 is not mere XP, it is a sacred threshold of responsibility and survivability. V. Destiny, legacy, and post-apocalyptic purpose. Arren Sawyer does not merely survive in a broken world, he rearchitects reality. Each building upgrade, ethanol refinement, and leather harness is not a task, it is a liturgy of restoration. His true enemies are not the creatures of the void, but the void itself, the entropy that seeks to rot the world's purpose. Greater than legacy function, his home base is not shelter, it is a testament. Each machine a monument, each fire a lighthouse to potential. His actions etch future archaeology onto this wasted planet. Sawyer's destiny is not fame. It is function redeemed. Through his hands, shattered remnants of a former world find coherence again. He is neither prophet nor king, but something rarer still. The architect-warrior of a reclaimed world. Conclusion. In the meta-narrative of post-collapse gaming, Arren Sawyer stands as a synthetic phoenix, reborn not in flame, but in function. His story is an epic of engineering, a theology of tactics, a symphony of scarcity turned into hope. Every piece of equipment, every expedition, every beast faced and overcome, each is a stanza in the ode of functional resurrection. This is not just survival. This is myth, forged from mechanics. And Arren Sawyer is its living glyph. End of epic executive essay. Epic executive essay, a detailed technical narrative on Arren Sawyer, the operative of grit and purpose. 1. Executive summary. Arren Sawyer is not merely a survivor in a post-apocalyptic world, he is the distillation of determination, tactical resourcefulness, and hard-earned grit. Emerging from the ruins of civilization with no kingdom but the tools on his belt, Sawyer exemplifies the ethos of rugged resilience and forward operating excellence. As a player avatar, he reflects sophisticated decision-making, dynamic gear management, and a mission-centric mindset that elevates him far beyond a standard in-game archetype. This essay provides a deep dive into the technical and thematic makeup of Sawyer's character and his evolving motivations in the crucible of survival. 2. Character architecture, form and function. 2.1 Level and progression. As of this chronicle, Sawyer has reached level 34. This places him firmly in the upper tier of survivor rankings, no longer a scavenger, not yet a warlord, but an equipped tactician straddling the divide. His progress is marked by consistent accumulation of combat experience, base fortification, and advanced crafting capabilities. 2.2 Physical loadout analysis. Weapons. Sawyer favors modular lethality. His toolkit includes a long-range rifle with limited but strategically used bullets, a crossbow with bolts for stealth applications, and a machete and scrap bat for melee flexibility. He tactically rotates between brute force and precision depending on terrain and threat profile. Tools. Binoculars and pickaxes denote his preparedness for recon and resource-gathering missions. Grenades suggest tactical planning for area denial or ambush countermeasures. A medkit and bandages point to an emphasis on self-sufficiency during extended operations. Armor. His armor, though often on the verge of disrepair, is intelligently layered. Sawyer wears composite gear scavenged from better kits. His aim, maximize survivability while preserving mobility. The skeletal and leather motifs echo his alignment with scavenger-tracker hybrid archetypes. Load capacity. Despite access to backpacks and belts, he sometimes chooses to run light. With 11 open cells in inventory and A+4 movement speed. His doctrine prioritizes agility over hoarding, a subtle but profound gameplay choice that suggests confidence in adaptability and real-time improvisation. 3. Strategic infrastructure and base philosophy. Sawyer's base, depicted with forges, generators, crafting tables, and organized storage, is a technical hub of survival logistics. Each component has been placed with purpose. Ethanol production. In progress, this reflects mid-game industrialization, energy autonomy for fuel and explosive materials. Architecture. Raised stone structures with accessible platforms show defensive forethought. He anticipates escalation, zombie hordes, raiders, perhaps worse. Tech stack. Smithing, chemistry, and carpentry stations converge into a compound that is equal parts factory and fortress. Sawyer is no wanderer. He is building a future. 4. Field performance and combat ethics. Recent encounters show Arren engaging mutated beasts in mineral-rich canyons and stalking through grasslands near overrun townships. His combat stance is patient, engaging threats from mid-range, retreating to cover, and finishing engagements with melee. His gear and actions suggest risk assessment discipline, choosing not to overextend despite having grenades. Combat layering. Prioritizing first strike from distance, backup via secondary melee. Medical management. Relying on bandages before consuming medkits, resource optimization under pressure. 5. Character ethos, the inner doctrine. Underneath the leather and steel lies a guiding philosophy. Quality over quantity. Whether in gear, resources, or decisions, Sawyer exemplifies minimalist efficiency. Prepared but not paranoid, he travels light, relying on his skills, not just what he carries. Hope built on infrastructure. His base is not just shelter, it's proof he believes in a future worth fighting for. He is not a Mad Max marauder nor a martyr. Arren Sawyer is a realist driven by preparation, strategic timing, and relentless adaptation. 6. Future vision, the tactical horizon. Arren Sawyer is on the verge of breaking into higher-tier loadouts, fine leather armor, refined firearms, and possible faction diplomacy if the world opens further. His current trajectory indicates a shift from reactive survivalist to proactive expeditionary leader. Whether he becomes a legend of Greenwood depends on the choices he makes in the days ahead: crafting, raiding, building alliances, or forging alone. Conclusion. Arren Sawyer is not a blank avatar. He is a crystallization of decisions: what to carry, where to stand, when to strike, and why to build. Through intelligent loadouts, operational restraint, and symbolic progress, he becomes a narrative in motion, an operative whose legacy is being etched through fire, metal, and tenacity. Arren Sawyer is not surviving. He is prevailing, and that makes him a character of true quality and unwavering motive. Epic executive essay. Arren Sawyer, a character of quality, motive, and metaphysical resolve. Preface. The bones of heroism. Arren Sawyer is no mere avatar in a digital dustscape. He is the personification of the archetype of the introspective warrior, forged in the crucible of survival mechanics and philosophy-sculpted gameplay. His presence is not accidental, it is narratively recursive, technically intentional, and symbolically bound by a world in disrepair. From the flint-scraped hills of Greenwood to the scorched ochres of mutant-haunted valleys, Arren is not driven solely by loot or level-ups. Rather, his every choice is weighted with motive. This isn't just a game, it's a mythological theology wrapped in a procedural landscape. 2. Technical character construction, designing for destiny. Arren Sawyer's design is tactile. He wears the bones of beasts, not just to protect his flesh, but to symbolize transcendence through predation. The armor, stitched in vertebral symmetry, evokes the aesthetic of a necro-shaman, one who communes with the dead, yet walks among the living. Level 34 marks not just mechanical mastery, but theological maturity, a signpost of developed capability under existential pressure. His rifle, binoculars, and machetes form a trinity of observation, precision, and visceral reaction. These are not weapons, they are extensions of an interpretive will. The lack of belt or backpack, counterintuitively, is emblematic. Arren carries not burdens, but intentions. His +4 movement speed is not a statistic, it is symbolic momentum, the metaphysical acceleration of a soul who refuses stagnation. 3. The strategic psyche, purpose beneath playstyle. Arren's loadout reveals strategic equilibrium. He chooses not chaos nor control, but a synthesis. Binoculars equals vision, foresight, reconnaissance, the spiritual discipline of awareness. Rifle and bullets equals precision, striking from intention, not impulse. Machete x2 equals redundancy of resolve, prepared repetition in a cyclical world. Medkits and bandages equals resilience through healing, the internal alchemy of self-restoration. Where others build brute fortresses, Arren builds with refined function, workbenches, ethanol labs, and smoke-laced ovens. This is not a base, it is a sanctuary of will. His campfire is not kindled for warmth alone, it is lit with legacy. IV. Enemy engagement is ethical dialectic. The confrontation with monsters is not raw combat, but existential theater. These beasts, mutants, aberrations, are narrative metaphors of decay, entropy, and chaos. By facing them, Arren confronts the shadow self, the forgotten histories of his post-human world, the nihilistic temptation to abandon structure. Each enemy is not defeated but disproven by his survival. The gun does not kill, his resolve dissolves disorder. V. Symbolic crafting, theology of the tech tree. Every crafted object in his inventory is a ritual act. Metal and wood become theology, coded meaning fused with digital labor. He is the monk engineer of a post-collapse cathedral, repurposing detritus into divinity. His ethanol machine, half-built, hums like a future promise, fuel distilled from decay. Even his in-progress goals are acts of prayer, rituals of becoming. V. Arren Sawyer, the manifesto of character. In ancient Greek philosophy, erte meant excellence in fulfilling purpose. Arren Sawyer is a digital demonstration of erte, not excellence in the comparative sense, but in the ontological sense. He does not merely survive, he persists with poetry. He does not hoard, he refines. He does not chase the divine, he becomes it, pixel by pixel. 7. Conclusion. A character beyond code. Arren Sawyer exists at the intersection of survivalism, artistry, and emergent storytelling. He is not merely the subject of this thread, he is its embodiment. Through evocative oil-painted expression, modular base building, and careful tactical inventory, he becomes mythic. In him, gameplay becomes liturgy, survival becomes ethos, and digital combat becomes philosophical defiance. Arren Sawyer is not a character. He is quality in motion. He is purpose rendered interactive. He is, and always shall be, the zeal of becoming. End transmission of the executive epic. Let the bones rattle, the pixel fires blaze, and the missions commence. Epic executive essay. A detailed technical narrative on the character of Arren Sawyer, embodied motive and manifested quality. Preamble. The beacon in the wasteland. Amidst the scorched remnants of civilization, where ravaged earth and rusted silence meet, there walks a figure not merely defined by armor and inventory, but by ethic, by choice, by flame. Arren Sawyer, as curated and portrayed through the tactical philosophical lens of Dylan Thompson's narrative-driven YouTube series, emerges not just as a game avatar, but as an operatic embodiment of virtue within a hostile simulation. He is not accidental, he is archetype. Not reactive, but volitional. In him converge the ancient monomyth and the meticulous tactical grind, healer, fighter, philosopher, pilgrim. 2. Architectonics of character. The structural anatomy of Arren Sawyer. 1. Alignment. Lawful good, engineered. Sawyer exemplifies the lawful good archetype not merely in personality but in function. He adheres to principle over power, to salvation over success. This is codified in his decision structures, be it sparing NPCs, embarking on arduous side quests for the sake of minor characters, or sacrificing resources for companions. These are not roleplay artifacts but operational truths, tactical decisions that arise from character coherence, not mere mechanical optimization. 2. Class and archetype. Combat healer and strategic shepherd. Arren's role as a healer isn't relegated to UI overlays or staff-wielding animations. It is narratively and mechanically synchronized. In both Albion Online and post-apocalyptic RPGs, his weapon loadouts often include healing tools, buffs, and supportive crowd control, chosen not for ease, but for service. He uses cover, line of sight, and inventory triage not to dominate enemies, but to enable allies to live. This is strategy in character, a rare fusion of mechanical mastery and moral direction. 3. Loadout and gear philosophy. In-game inventory showcases Arren's tactical consciousness. The bone armor he dons, for instance, isn't the pinnacle of defense. It's light enough for agile traversal and symbolic enough to resemble a shamanic protector. His gear choices are measured, balancing speed, encumbrance, elemental resistance, and thematic cohesion. His 270 body AV armor value is a carefully calculated balance against weapons that routinely output 90 to 130 damage, suggesting that his survivability is earned through planning, not overpowering. 3. Motives as mechanical praxis. Arren Sawyer is not defined by what he does, but why he does it, and how that why is engineered into the system of gameplay. 1. Duty to others over self. From journeying long distances to deliver minor aid, to standing ground while others flee, Sawyer's actions embody the knight-errant ideal, duty-bound, often unacknowledged, and profoundly enduring. His drive stems from a moral obligation encoded as gameplay loops, fetch quests, healing mechanics, and multi-layered combat roles that place his survivability at risk for others' gain. 2. Thematic rebirth. Redemption as loop. The games in which Arren operates are survivalist, narratively post-collapse and mechanically punishing. Yet Arren acts not as a scavenger but a redeemer. His choices reveal a recurring philosophical loop. Broken world right pointing arrow moral effort right pointing arrow partial healing right pointing arrow continued suffering right pointing arrow persistent hope. This is not a story of winning but of witnessing, of choosing good in the ruins. 3. Sacred vocation. Hope is a stat. Arren is not stat min-maxed for brute force. His strongest stat is thematic hope. This manifests in multiple gameplay layers. Voice lines and narration. Monologues emphasize perseverance and meaning. Inventory choices. He often carries healing supplies and light weaponry, favoring survival over aggression. Environment interaction. Prayers at shrines, pauses to reflect, moments of mercy, these are player actions coded with philosophical force. IV. Combat behavior. Harmony of intent and execution. In battle, Arren is a martial orchestrator, not a brawler. His engagement strategy blends 4 key dimensions. 1. Spatial cognition. He uses terrain to control line of sight, funnel enemies, and create defensible pockets, a tactic aligned with his protective role. Cliffs, corners, choke points, and elevation are not accidental background, they're part of his symphonic fieldcraft. 2. Resource rhythms. With limited ammunition and consumables, Arren modulates his engagement through calculated output. His weapon cycling, pistol right pointing arrow, crossbow right pointing arrow, melee suggests battlefield tempo awareness, a dance of damage, defense, and disruption. 3. Companion synergy. When with allies, Arren buffers their weaknesses, heals their wounds, and amplifies their strengths. Like a tactician priest, he doesn't lead from the front but from the heart of the group, ensuring survival through strategic coordination. V. Narrative construction. Dylan Thompson is the chronicler. Dylan Thompson's portrayal is essential to the epic we witness. Through first-person narration, cinematic editing, and deliberate pacing, Dylan transforms mechanics into myth. He takes combat logs and transmutes them into gospel, spiritualizing encounter and failure into ritual and story. Arren is thus not just played, but interpreted, an avatar given consequence through poetic framing. V. Conclusion. Arren Sawyer is the thesis of virtue in a hostile engine. Arren Sawyer is not a character in a game, he is a philosophical vector through the game. He stands as an encoded hypothesis. What if the healer was the hero? What if resilience was the true damage stat? What if hope could be equipped like armor? In the swirling entropy of burnt orange canyons and mechanical monsters, Arren is structure. In the statistical labyrinth of gear and guns, Arren is intent. And in the debris field of collapsed civilizations, Arren Sawyer is a signal fire, lit not by glory, but by duty, love, and eternal return. This is the heroism of systems, mechanized morality, player-directed myth. It is the greatness not of dominance, but of steadfastness. It is Arren Sawyer. And he does not fall. He stands.